Draw near to Our Lady today and every day. Refocus with Father Nathan Cromly in the Marian Faith Network podcast. Rediscover what it means to live life with Our Lady. Now here's your host, Father Nathan Cromly.
Hi, I'm Father Nathan, and I'm so happy you're part of the MFN. I know for so many of you, you've made the amount for consecration in the past. You don't know what to do with it. You want to go deeper. I want to help you go deeper. Because when I made the demand for consecration, it was wonderful. We had this marvelous ceremony. I was with about 10 other people over the age of 65, and that was just such a beautiful thing. And after I made the demand for consecration, we all got in our cars. I went home, and I did not know what to do. And thanks be to goodness, there was this old cloistered nun who took me under her wing, and she taught me in ways I didn't even understand, using words that were much too deep for me. But she taught me with so much love that when I think about living the demand for consecration, I remember things that she told me. And I guess I would like to keep that formation going, because when you made your consecration, it was not an end, it was a beginning. And you gave absolutely everything, including all of the spirituality for the rest of your life, to her, which means that everything flows from that consecration now. When you want to know how to do anything, you want to know how to learn to pray, you want to know how to go deeper, the answer is, for someone who's been consecrated to the Virgin Mary, it goes back to the same thing. It goes back to, what does she want from me? Virgin Mary, what do you want from me? I belong to you. What do you want for me? How do you want to teach me to pray the Rosary? How do you want to teach me to read the Bible? I'm yours. Otherwise, we make it just a devotion, something on the side. And that's not a bad thing. De Montfort even said, there are three types of people. The people who make this as an external act, the people who start to imitate the Virgin Mary, and then he said the third level and the highest level are the ones who actually make this consecration their habitual state. And then he laments, why are there so few who choose that? And I guess that cry from the heart of Papa Louis, St. Louis de Montfort, is like something that I feel like responding to and saying, St. Louis, I'm going to do my best to help my generation of young people not stop, but to go to that habitual state. How can I live in Mary as my habitual interior place, the place where I abide, the place where I live out my discipleship with Christ? That's what you need to know. And no one gave it to me. So this old nun, thanks be to goodness, used to talk to me, but that's it. I don't find it in enough places. So I just got tired of waiting for someone else to write a book, and I decided to do it myself, all right? So that's what these podcasts are all about, okay? First one I want to talk about, September 8th, the birth of the Virgin Mary. Amazing feast day. Why is it so amazing? It's so amazing because on this day, we receive the gift of who Mary is. Just like you cannot get around the presence of a child, she exists whether you like it or not. So you cannot get around the presence of the Virgin Mary, God's absolute mercy given to us, whether you like it or not. It's so amazing. We celebrate this day when God, he takes the first step. So it's like we want to go to God, we're waiting for a Savior, and God's like, boof, I'll give you an Immaculate Mother. Now, whether you like it or not, she exists. This is my response to your sin. This is my response to your littleness. This is my response to you not being able to do anything. I'll tell you, my response is to give you the most beautiful gift. I'm going to create the nest in which I will be born. Isn't that a beautiful image? That's exactly what we're celebrating. Today, God has begun his saving act by creating the temple that he will fill with his glory, by creating the ark in which the new law of charity will abide, by creating the body who will give her body to form his body, and that body that he'll hang upon the cross for our salvation. And when we celebrate her birthday, we celebrate the fact that God's will to save us comes first. Now, how are you going to respond to that? How can I respond to that? I need to respond to that by accepting another person into my life. We make Mary this idea far too often. We look at her artistically far too often, and we forget that she's a living, breathing person who is asking us to love her. I mean, if you had someone on both knees pleading with you, please love me, love my son, love God, you'd have to do something about it. You couldn't just be like, I'm just going to ignore this person doesn't exist, because they do exist, they're kneeling in front of you. Well, today, God has given you a person who is completely for her son. To receive her into your heart is to be directed towards Christ. To know Mary from the inside. That's what the MFN is all about. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You made your consecration and you're not even living it. To live it, it means to know her. It means to enter into her, to let her enter into you. We'll talk more about that in the next podcast. Have a good month, and I'm praying for you.
Thank you for listening to the Marian Faith Network podcast. Tune in next time for more with your host, Father Nathan Cromly.